Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing my September book haul. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself for filming this really early on. It's only October 4th and I tend to film these videos very late in the month, so I feel kind of accomplished right now for doing this early. But anyways, I have so many books to get into. So as usual, I will be going through these in order of when I first got them. And I have about 30-ish books here, and I'm actually really proud of myself as well that I actually did not purchase any books until the last week and a half of September, when I found this really good deal and I was like, wow. So the first book that I got was actually from a book trade, and that is A Hero Born by Jin Young. This is book 1 in the Legends of the Condor House. I believe this whole series is actually really popular. It's like a Chinese fantasy, so I was really excited to get a Chinese fantasy because I feel like I haven't read any of those before that's actually from China. And it says back here that's supposed to be from a writer with a best-selling legacy equal to that of J.R. Tolkien, J.K. Rowling, and George R.R. Martin. So I feel like there's just so many big names there that I am so excited for this book. So of course I was like, a book written by a Chinese author from China, I'm assuming, that got translated to English. I'm like, I mean, just sign me up for this. So I'm so excited for this book. Also, before I forget, there are actually 4 books to this, and it's supposed to be a generational saga and martial arts adventure of passion, war, betrayal, and brotherhood. I'm pretty excited for this book, guys. Okay, so my next one is also from a book trade, and that is The Reckless Oath We Made by Bryn Grenwood. This is a book of the month pick from a while ago, August 2019, actually pretty recent. It's supposed to be a provocative love story between a tough Kansas woman on a crooked path of redemption and her unlikeliest of champions. I just heard a lot of good things about this book after it came out, and I wasn't sure if I want to get it myself for my book of the month picks, but since this was available as a trade, I was like, let me just go and check it out for myself. So I don't know, we'll see about this one. The next book that I got is actually from the book that I picked for my book of the month YA affiliate box, and that is Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. So before I talk about this book, let's talk about Book of the Month YA first. So for those who don't know, Book of the Month YA is a subscription box, and every month they pick out 5 books that are usually highly anticipated, really popular books. And so every month they have 5 books, and you can actually go and pick whatever book you want. And there is a code for this month. I will put it somewhere over here that you can get your first box / book for only $9.99, which is actually a really good deal because you get a really nice hardcover. And it's also usually an exclusive edition as well because they have the Book of the Month here. They also have it back here, and I believe in the inside they also have, yeah, over here the inside has a Book of the Month stamp here as well. So they're usually kind of exclusive editions, but it's only $9.99, and then every add-on that you add on after that is also $9.99, and every month afterward is $14.99. But you get a really nice hardcover. So if you're interested in subscribing, if you're interested in supporting me, I will include my link down below so you can get your first box / book for only $9.99. Anyways, back to this book. So this was my pick for September, and I am so excited because I've heard so many cute things about this book, and I've read her previous book, Emergent Contact, which I also really liked, but I feel like that wasn't as fluffy as I would have liked it to be, and I've heard this one to be fluffier, so I guess I'll find out. And what is most interesting is the fact that this book, I believe the girl, her name is Leanna, she's actually like a pop star of some sort, and I don't know, I'm just curious to see how this romance will develop, and it's supposed to be really cute, guys, so I'm really excited. Then the next 3 books I got are actually for my birthday, so thank you so much for sending these to me. The first one is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, and this book I have heard so many good things about because it's supposed to be like a dark mermaid story or like a sirens or something like that, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, and honestly, I cannot wait to check this out. Then the next book that I got for my birthday is Middle Game by Shauna McGuire. This book is so intriguing because it's about a father, I want to say, and he has 2 sons. They're twins, and somehow he wants to have them become into like gods or like deities. I'm not really sure how that's gonna go, but that's what I've heard about this book so far. So I don't know, I'm just really intrigued by this book because I love books with gods and mythologies and stuff like that, and I don't know how they're going to incorporate that into this book, but regardless, it sounds so fascinating. Okay, then the last book that I got for my birthday, which I'm so excited for, is Kidnap of Solace by Rena Barron. This is definitely one of my most anticipated reads of the year, and this one is supposed to be a YA fantasy that's set in West African mythology, and that sounds so good. There's also supposed to be witch doctors in here, which I just feel like I haven't read a book with that before, so I am so fascinated with this one. And it says back here, I once laughed at stories about demons. Now I know that one may walk in my shadow. Does that sound so good? I'm just so intrigued by this. Also, this cover is stunning. Like, look how beautiful this is. Anyways, I'm so excited for this one. The next book that I got is actually from a publisher, and that is Something She's Not Telling Us by Darcy Bell. This one comes out on April 2020, so this is actually a super advanced arc. But I don't really know what this book is about because this came unsolicited. but I believe it's supposed to be a domestic thriller of how one woman's life is turned upside down when her brother brings his new girlfriend to visit and no one is telling the truth about who they really are. That sounds actually really intriguing. This might be a really good book for October, so I don't know. I would definitely be checking this out soon. I mean, I feel like I do like mystery thrillers, so this is definitely up my alley. I haven't actually heard this book before, so I don't know what to expect. Oh my god, and the next two books are the books I'm so excited for because I actually requested these two from the publisher and they so kindly sent these books to me because I love these books so much. The first one is Ruthless Gods by Emily A. Duncan. This is the sequel to Wicked States, which I love. That book was so good. Like that ending too, like I definitely want to pick up this book ASAP. And this book doesn't come out until April 2020 as well, so it's also super advanced, and I'm just so grateful that they sent this to me because this is definitely one of my most anticipated 2020 releases for sure. So for those who don't know, Wicked Saints is a YA fantasy that follows 3 characters, and the whole world has to do with magic from gods as well as blood magic. So we follow this one female character and she somehow is able to communicate directly to the gods and goddesses, and by doing so she's able to utilize their powers. And on the other hand, we have these 2 guys who, one has some like dark secret, and as you read you're like, oh my god, I can't believe that's what he's hiding. And the other guy is a prince who doesn't really know what to do and like, what to believe. And as the book continues, like you just follows 3 perspective, and this book also has this war between these 2 countries. So the girl is from the kingdom or country who deals with magic with gods and goddesses, and the 2 guys come from the kingdom who deal with blood magic. And for whatever reason they've been in war for the past 100 years. For some reason they don't like each other's magic, and so you follow their perspectives and you follow like the reasoning and like what they're trying to do to stop this war. And it was so good, and the ending, guys, is such a huge cliffhanger that I am so excited for this book. And then the next book, which I got from the same publisher, is another book that I'm just so grateful to receive a copy of, and that is The Silvered Serpent by Roshni Shakshi. This book is just, I love the first book. It was definitely a book with some mixed reviews, but I personally enjoyed it because there's some sort of like puzzle elements to it and problem solving, which I personally really like, but I guess some people really didn't like it because it's also been dubbed as like super similar to Six of Crows, which I kind of understand because of the heist element, but I personally think it was a dabble of that, but a lot more elements relating to books such as Angels and Demons or the Da Vinci Code, that kind of stuff. And I love those books, so for me it made sense. But like this is a sequel to Gilded Wolves, and it follows a group of people who have this heist, but in doing so they also have to follow all this like this very complex magic system, and they have to solve all these puzzles and all that stuff. And it was just really good, guys. And the ending, I feel like the first book was a really good setup for the sequel, so I feel like now that I really enjoyed the first one, I think the sequel might be even better because there's just so many interesting elements that I feel like the sequel would need to answer, and I'm just like really excited for it. So I'm so excited for this one, and this one doesn't come out until February 2020. Then the next book that I got is also from a book trade, and that is The Orchid Throne by Jeffy Kennedy. All I know is that this is a fantasy. I want to say it's an adult fantasy, and it's supposed to be about a queen and a former prince who must join forces to defeat an evil emperor. Honestly, I saw defeat evil emperor and I was like sold, so oops. But yeah, I'm like super excited for this one. Okay, then the next book that I got is, I think I got this from the publisher, but honestly I'm not really sure because I didn't request it, and that is The Date by Louise Jensen. And it says here, one night can change everything, something bad has happened to Allison Taylor. So it's definitely some sort of thriller mystery novel, but other than that I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know where this came from. I want to say it came from the publisher, but yeah, I really don't know too much about this book, to be honest. Then the next book that I got, I believe also came unsolicited, and that is Minor Prophets by Jimmy Cajoleas. So this one says, plagued by visions, haunted by nightmares, trapped in a world that seems too uncanny to be real. So definitely some sort of thriller aspect to it, some sort of like creepiness to it. I don't know, but it sounds like it could be a really good book for October. And this is an arc, and it actually came out right. It came out in September 2019. Then the next book that I got is a book that I got from a publicity agency that I work really closely with, and that is Epoca, the Treat of Ich Roth. It's written by Ivy Clare, but it's created by Kobe Bryant. This one is an arc and doesn't come out until November 12th, 2019. So there's like a whole series going on that's been created by Kobe Bryant where he deals with fantasy with sports. So the first book had to deal with basketball and fantasy, and the second one had to deal with tennis and fantasy. And this third one has to deal with an elite sports academy with fantasy. And honestly, other than that, I don't know too much about it, but I like the concept of some sort of like sports element with fantasy just because I feel like I haven't seen that very often. So this is a series that I don't even know they're a series, but they're all somehow connected because they follow the same core elements, I want to say, but they're all created by Kobe Bryant and written by some other author. So anyways, I'm excited for this series just because I haven't really seen anything that's similar to it. But anyways, this is the next book that I got. Then the next book that I got is also from a publisher, and this one is A Bitter Feast by Deborah Crombie. This one came unsolicited. All I know is that this is book 6, I want to say, in a series. It's part of the Miami Herald series, where a Scotland Yard detective, Duncan Kincaid, and Gemma James are pulled into a dangerous web of secrets, lies, and murder that simmers beneath the surface of a tranquil Cotswolds village. So yeah, that's all I know about this book, guys. I mean, I feel like there's not much else I can say about this one, but this is book 6, so I don't really know if I want to pick up the first 5 books. But either way, this came unsolicited, so maybe I will check it out at some point. So the next book that I got is actually from a blog tour that I am participating in, and that is Plastic by Frank Strossers. So this book just sounds so intriguing because it follows Dr. Harry Praven, who is a renowned Beverly Hills plastic surgeon. And somehow he gets called in to operate on this disfigured face of a beautiful teenage pop star. And then as the book continues, he realizes that she's actually in mortal danger. And so now he has to ask himself if he's willing to risk everything to save her beauty, her life, or if he should just save himself. But yeah, I just feel like this concept sounds so intriguing because plastic surgery and murder or like thriller just doesn't seem like concept I think of too often, but this book just sounds really intriguing to me, and I cannot wait to read this for my blog tour. Oh yeah, before I forget, I realized my hair is still slightly damp from the shower that I took. I guess it didn't fully dry yet, but so if you see that it's kind of wet, it's because I am a firm believer of air drying. Anyways, the next book that I got is actually from a publicity agency that I also work really closely with. I work with them really closely every season when they have a bunch of campaigns and stuff. But this book that I got from them is I'm Pregnant by Jenny Hendricks and Ted Kaplan. I'm actually really excited for this book because this book has a lot of topics I think should be discussed. So this book follows a young girl who ends up pregnant, and now she has to decide if she wants to get an abortion or not. And so the book just kind of follows that plot, but I've heard some really controversial things about how she ends up getting pregnant and things about her boyfriend, which I don't know, I'm like really curious about. I mean, I know they are, but I don't want to say anything because I don't want to spoil anything. But I just feel like this book will have some really interesting lessons to be learned and some discussions and issues that I feel like, even though I've heard certain things about this book, I feel like this book itself is actually really important. So I'm definitely intrigued and very excited to read this soon. Then the next book that I got is also from the same publicity agency, and that's A Song for the Road by Rain Lacka. All I know is that this book, I mean, as you can't tell, features an epic road trip, and I have been wanting to do a road trip for the longest time, so I want to do one soon. But this book I feel like will definitely motivate me and encourage me to have a road trip for myself. But yeah, I'm like really excited for this because I want to do a road trip too. Anyways, this book just sounds really cute. So the next copy that I have is actually from a publicity agency that I also work really closely with, and how this one works is that they just send me books. So I don't ever request any books from them, and they just send it to me. So this one, I feel like I actually have an art copy of this, but I don't remember because I just have too many books. But if that is the case, I have the hardcover now, and that book is The Poison Garden by AJ Banner. And this book, all I know is that it's some sort of like mystery thriller novel about how what this woman, I believe her name is Elise, she finally realizes that her life is actually a lie and what is actually the truth. So it just sounds really intriguing. But yeah, this is the next book that I got. So we have finally reached the books I purchased for myself. I purchased 6 books, I think 6 books. So the first one that I got is Loki by Mackenzie Lee. I honestly have an eye on this book ever since I saw this at BA. I'm honestly such a huge Marvel fan that when I saw this book was coming out, I was like, oh my god, this book features a young Loki. Sign me up for this. I'm just so excited for this one. And the next book that I got for myself is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. I just heard so many awesome things about this book, and recently I've been in the mood for like contemporary romances that are kind of smutty but like not really smutty. But I've heard this book is supposed to be like the smuttiest one, so like I'm really intrigued. So all I know about this book is that it follows Georgette, who I believe she's like a clown or something like that, like a part-time job, and she's also known as like the little sister to a lot of people. And then on the other hand, we follow a guy, his name is Travis, who is actually best friends with Georgette's brother, and of course they end up falling in love. They have like a fake dating thing, I want to say, and I'm like super excited for fake dating tropes because those are my favorite. Like fake dating and hate to love are just very high on my list, but yeah, I'm really excited for this one. The next book that I got is a chunker, but I'm honestly so excited for it. Like, even though I haven't read the first one, I saw this and I was like, wait, I really want to get it. And that is The Dragon Republic by R.F. Kuang. This is book 2 from the Poppy War. All I know about this series is that it is a Asian inspired fantasy. I want to say it's like Chinese inspired, yeah. It's like combines the history of 20th century China with a gripping world of gods and monsters. I've also heard that it is very detailed and kind of dark in that sense, but then again, it's about a war, so there's gonna be some like darker things that comes with that. But I've also heard just so many good things about it, and I cannot wait to read this. But I just have to read the Poppy War first. But like, this book just sounds so good. Like, the whole series just sounds really good. Along the same vein of the fact that I am in the mood for romantic comedies and contemporary romances these days, I decided to pick up The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. And this follows a trope of two people like having to kind of force live together. Usually it's like force of circumstance, but this one is like, oh well, it's still force of circumstance. It follows a girl, her name is Tiffy, and she ends up responding to an ad for a flat share, and the other person sharing her apartment is a guy called Leon. And so apparently he's like a night shift worker and she's a day shift worker, and so they basically just swap. Like, they never see each other, and so the only way they communicate with each other are by these notes, and apparently they just fall in love after that. But I've heard really cute things of this book, so I'm really excited. And the next book that I got for myself is one that I'm so excited for because this book just sounds so fascinating, and that is Steel Crow Saga by Paul Kruger. So this book, I believe, is an adult fantasy. I believe it's an adult fantasy. It's not like a YA fantasy. And it follows 4 characters. One is a soldier of a curse, a prince of a debt, a detective of a grudge, and a thief of a broken heart. And it's also supposed to have magical animal companions, which I'm like, what does this mean? I need to know. So I don't know. I've heard so many good things about this book, and anything with fantasy and magical creatures, like an animal companion, like I would love to have a magical animal companion. Like, that would be my dream. Unfortunately, that is very unlikely, but what I can hope. The last book that I purchased for myself is After the Flood by Cassandra Montag. Oh, by the way, I got all of these books. Actually, no, with the exception of Loki and Fix Her Up, I got those from Amazon, but the last 4 books I got were from Barnes & Noble. But anyway, this is the next book that I got. Honestly, I've just been eyeing this book ever since I saw this at BA. It's about a mother's terrifying quest to find her missing daughter in a post-apocalyptic world. Like, I don't know, but I'm really excited for this sci-fi saga about a quest, missing daughter. Sounds really good. So the next book that I got is actually from a publicity agency that I do work with as well. This book is The Speed of Falling Objects by Nancy Richardson Fisher. So this book is definitely one of those coming of age, finding yourself kind of novel, because it follows a girl. Her name is Danger, or Danny Danielle Warren. Really, her name is Danger? I feel like I'm reading this wrong. Well, regardless, that's her name. And something happened to her when she was young. She had an accident and she lost her eye. And ever since then, she blames herself for the fact that her mother and her father are basically never there for her. And then one day she ends up getting the opportunity to join her father for something like film at this rainforest. And she goes there to prove to her father that she is not the disappointment that he left behind. And once she arrives there, though, she finds out that there was some sort of secret to her accident, and she discovers the truth about her parents. So it sounds really intriguing. The next book that I got is also from a publicity agency, and that is When You Ask Me Where I'm Going by Jasmine Carr. Hope I pronounced that last name correctly. I haven't heard too much about this book, period, but this book follows a woman and her daughter living undocumented in North America, and it's supposed to be just a story about resilience, empowerment, and love. And the unique thing about this book is that it's written in a variety of format. It's written half in prose and half in verse, so I'm definitely intrigued by this book for sure. By the way, all these books generally from publicity agencies all come unsolicited. They rarely ask me if I want a copy of it. It's the ones from publishers that are usually requested. Like, I mean, a lot of them came unrequested as well, but usually for the most part they are requested, like half I want to say. So this one came from a publicity agency, and this one is called What I Want You to See by Catherine Linka. I don't know anything about this book, but it has something to do with a prestigious art school, and it's about a girl, her name is Sabine, who ends up going to this prestigious art school after winning a scholarship. Unfortunately, she doesn't realize how cutthroat that society is, and before she knows it, she gets warned by one of the faculty members that she will lose her merit-based scholarship if she doesn't improve. And of course, she ends up meeting a guy. His name is Adam, who I guess like helps her get insight on painting and all that stuff. And somehow she gets involved with this like crime that she didn't even realize that she was involved in, that was so well plotted that apparently no one knows about it but her. So this book sounds like it went from, you know, typical like, oh, I went to school, like people are really rude there, like the teachers are mean, stuff like that, to a book that is about like a mystery and like a crime and like just definitely not what I expected from this book at all. I'm kind of like, whoa, I did not see that coming. But yeah, I'm like definitely intrigued by this book now. And the last book that I got is actually a book that I purchased myself. This is the last book that I purchased myself for this month, and that is My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. I've heard so many good things about this book, to be honest, but it's supposed to be about a couple who are just like your everyday really happy couple, and for whatever reason, I guess to spice up their married life or whatever, they somehow decide to go murder people. I don't know. So this book just follows that, and that's kind of all I want to know going into it. But I've heard so many good things. Like this is definitely a lot of people's like favorite thriller of all time. Okay, maybe not of all time, but like of all year. But yeah, I'm like excited for it, so I guess I'll find it for myself. So anyways, those are all the books I got for September. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!